Good evening, everybody. September 7th, 2021, and it's been quite an eventful day for Bitcoin here. Got a lot to go over. First video back from vacation, so I'm just going to dive right in here. All right, this move here, first off, I want to point out that earlier I did say to everybody in the group, you do not want to see this drop below the 618 here at about 50,800 now that this has surpassed the 1.0 extension. And so we had moved our stops up, luckily, and we stopped out right there before this massive dump. So that was quite nice. You can see right here in the group, shouldn't fall below the 618 at 50,800 to keep this move impulsive and keep the ball in the bull's court. Below that level would make things more convoluted. So definitely a good idea to stop out in profit below that. So that is what I said yesterday at 10:15 p.m. That's where I had my stops. And so we are now just kind of hanging out in cash and seeing where this wants to go. So let's take a look at that now. This move that we were hoping would fill out 5 waves failed to do so and made 3 waves instead, right? So this is basically the top of, it's really not a 1, 2, 3, it's an A, B, C. So I'm going to get rid of that, and I'm going to get rid of this fib extension, okay, and we're going to get rid of this green fib extension as well. All right, so my take on all of this action is in the blue count here, we have 5 waves up to make this blue number 1. And we are now trying to make a blue number 2. I had put it down here and just assumed that it was going to be a very, very shallow 2, but you'll remember I didn't really like that. It didn't go as far down as it really should have. I was looking for something more in this area here. Oops, let me put this on log. There we go. More in this area here between the 236 and the 618. The 236 being the shallowest that I wanted to see it go at about 44K. But I was looking for even lower, potentially down to 35, somewhere between 35 and 40. So that is still potentially on the table at this point. Doesn't necessarily need to, but we basically did spike down at least to that 236 level to give us a better 2. So Bitcoin has really been taking this path quite a lot recently with this like high B action. So let me get rid of some of these like little micro things that we were playing with in here because don't really need them anymore. Just to make it a little bit more clear. So we are looking now at, I think this is very validly the top of 1 still, but what we have is A here, and then B went up here, and C just came down here. If we go a little bit lower, it'll reset that lower, but I think we can certainly be done there. I don't necessarily think it needs to go lower, but we'll have to see how that ends up playing out. So certainly kind of a danger zone here, zone of uncertainty anyway, but really I still view anything in this area still even down to 35K as a very valid place to be purchasing Bitcoin for the next move up. If you remember, we still have this breakout here. That's certainly valid. It could come down and retest that breakout down here at 37. It could come down lower into these fibs, and it would still be a very valid 2 for this move. So this is not a bearish turn of events as far as the long term is concerned, and to be honest, I am actually preferring this because my other count was that we were already in this 3rd wave, and I really didn't like it based on this action. So that was my alternative, but I didn't ever really like it. So I'm going to get rid of that now because I think that is pretty clearly not the case. So we can get rid of that alternative. And now we can look to just try to hold wherever the bottom of this 2 holds, then is is where I'll put the fib extension then to point upwards and see where we're going from here. And we'll figure that out over the next few days, hopefully, once the bottom has been a little bit more clear as far as where it actually is. So, all right, let me zoom in here. I don't think I can really see anything on this little micro action going on here. It's not really giving me much to work with. I'm just gonna change this. Let me make that a little bit bigger so it's easier to see, something like that. All right, if I go down to like a 15-minute chart, yeah, this is nothing. We have absolutely nothing to work with here. I mean, potentially, you know, C waves really should have 5, but this already went so deep, it can certainly be counted as complete. We're just kind of sticking around where that really should have ended, right around 46.2. So I can't really say anything clearly here whether C needs another leg down or not. If it did, let's see, if I do a fib retracement from how deep that was up to about there, we would expect, we would have expected it to not surpass 0.5, so it's already broken that 0.5, so I don't see a strong case for getting a lower low here necessarily, but it is certainly possible. And what we really need to see off of this action here, it's not going to be pretty because of how choppy this is, but we really need to see some sort of 1, 2, and then like a nice strong move up for a 3, 4, and then a 5. If we can get 5 waves up, then we can call the bottom in. But at this point, I'm just back in accumulation mode. I've bought a little bit more Bitcoin here in this area. Like I said, I sold up here at about 50,800, so I had cash to rebuy then, so I bought some more right around 46. And I will buy more if this continues dropping. I'll just buy more. So that's kind of my plan on Bitcoin there. Let's take a look over at the daily chart and just take a look at a couple things here. So this again, obviously this big green box here is where 2 ideally should go. I had been looking for this RSI breakout to come down and test, so that would be, in the case of our lower low, that would potentially give us that retest which I've been looking for there. It hasn't quite done it yet, so that is sort of the one, maybe the one thing pointing towards maybe we come down a little bit lower and retest that breakout. That is certainly possible. So we'll see there, and that'll give us a nice chance to accumulate more in that area then. All right, let me look at, we also had, earlier we were looking at this scenario here, which I think I can eradicate now as a possibility. So this was the super bullish scenario where we count this as a double bottom rather than 1, 2, which means here's our 1, 2, and we should have been within 3, and we really should have seen a nice strong move. But after breaking that 1, 0, we've now, even on this larger move, we've broken this 618, which is 45.6. So that pretty much tells you that this is out. There's no chance of this playing out impulsively now. So I'm going to go ahead and just get rid of that scenario completely. Okay. And then finally, let's look at the last scenario that I was watching as a possibility, was this super bearish scenario where we have this as an A, we have a B here and a C down. So we do have 5 waves within the A, that makes sense. We really should only have 3 waves up in the C though. Or in the B rather. So to count this as a B, is a little bit, I don't really know that you can. And I guess you would have to say that that's 3 waves there. I guess that's, yeah, that kind of makes sense there. We've got our ABC within B, like so. So that is potentially possible. And that would then mean, now that we have a more clear top, that would then mean anywhere between the 618 and this 1236 would be the bottom of C here, with an ideal target about the 10, which is about 23.5 now on this. So this is certainly possible. It would, of course, require breaking down through this diagonal and breaking a whole bunch of support on the way down. But it is something to certainly keep in mind as a possibility. And to be perfectly honest, it would not be the end of the world if we got this down even to 19.4. That would retest the old all-time high, basically, and give us a really nice place to buy in and accumulate more. So hopefully we can get an indication that this is the path that it wants to take, obviously before it gets down there. I don't really want to hold on from 46 all the way down to 19 if it does that, but so anyway, we're going to keep an eye on that as a possibility for sure, and we'll go from there based on whatever the price action tells us as we go along here. So all right, trying to think if there's anything else that I can say on this. I don't think there is. So let's just see what the overnight action brings and see if we can get any further indication on what to expect here. At the moment, I think this is probably most likely, and we have in fact struck a bottom, but it's Bitcoin, so anything really can happen. All right, guys, good night. We will see you in the morning.